We up, we in, we started.
You can also send us an email to questions@cmng.pt or text to 2782. Every time it's ready, still added to welcome to leadership of team. We honor this comment for sharing success in the council and this for every benefit to that community. Madam Prime Minister, good evening. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Good evening, Paul, and to all the viewers. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for entertaining our conversation here this evening. I will look forward to sharing some of our plans as we proceed into the future general election 2015. I'm very happy we have a very distinguished panel of interviewers here who will really give us a very interesting conversation. So thank you, thanks to MMT, and of course for the panelists here. To the viewers out there, I want to spend a few moments this evening sharing our achievements, but more important, a view of the future. As we move forward into our second.
Okay, cool. By now you should be seeing the Prime Minister and Paul Richards.
She's a social and community activist and Philippine counselor. Miss Aisha and social workers. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me.
What is with Aisha Wells and that?
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm not going to be questioning my reason. With the former lecturer at University of Western Campus, the Congress the author, that's the membership representative.
They managed to put some makeup on Morgan Jobe's face. And I swear Paul Richards just has too much foundation on his forehead. Oh my god. Okay, so I think I've got about 4 viewers with me. Folks, feel free to post questions if you have any questions, and I'm going to answer your questions as best as I possibly can. Also, you can call me on 779-7457 if you want to call in. I should be joined by Lasana Liebert, Ruel Johnson, and Dion Jennings in a little while. Right. So we have Paul Richards is talking, going through all of the rules. First question from Morgan Jobe.
And then we would run with the circle back into the market and really pricing before we are done. So very difficult. We failed to do it with Germans and the Japanese giving the United country, with the Singaporeans and Koreans and Taiwanese giving Turkey. The question is, how do we need a cultural revolution to mobilize, especially in the country, to implement?
Okay, so Kamala is being asked how she's going to lead a cultural revolution to mobilize the youth. And he's asking her to not focus on seek-up jobs. This question to the Prime Minister, who has done Colonel Orange, has done live sport, brought Shaquille O'Neal here.
I would want to point out that our macroeconomic fundamentals in this time, as we speak, are very, very strong. We look at our inflation rates, which have come down.
Kamala says the economy is extremely strong.
Which we have. We look at our the unemployment levels also come down from time to time. We look at our foreign reserves.
I'm sorry, I haven't been able to give you the audio. I don't have the correct jacks and stuff to give you the audio, but I'm making sure that you get as much of what's going on the screen as possible.
We're speaking about the micro and in fact the social aspects of an economy. I would like to say my government will always place people first, very people-centered government. And that is
People-centered
why we
governance.
spend so much
Right.
of our resources. In fact, the largest slice of our budget is about 10, over $10 billion now goes into education and training. And I think that is where I see the future for us to continue to concentrate on education and training, but in areas now that will be more suited to the markets and the demands that we arise out of the labor market and the need for productivity. And that's where we intend to go. What we're going to do, and already started, is ready to open up the world of technology to our students. That's the future. The first part of the mission is to speak about the uh, future being in the bookmark for the children. I now see the future of the nation is in the laptops, which are the bookmarks of our children. So opening up that whole of technology is very, very vital. We're looking at also the curriculum, which is already started, for tech education. So in addition to the academic students, which I know we're very accustomed to, we're looking for other avenues of curriculum to train our young people for sustainable jobs. And to get those sustainable jobs, we really have to diversify the economy. We cannot
Mhm.
continue to depend on finite resources such as the oil and gas sector. And I speak about it a lot when you mention Iran and the oil prices and the challenges that we face our economy, which is still very much. We want to look at diversification, which we started, but we intend to intensify diversification in our second term. There's some clusters we look to create the jobs in those clusters. We're looking at finance, we're looking at ICTs, we're looking at creative industries, we're looking at marine industries, in addition to several other clusters that we would want to work with. Those clusters will create new jobs because those are clusters
To
with
my
economic.
viewers who are there, welcome. We're on. You should be seeing Kama Prasad Bisasa up on your screen right now. I hope you're looking at it or listening to it at home because you'll be able to get better audio that way. But I've shared the screen that I'm live streaming it from off my computer with you so that you can see it. Right now, Kama is talking about her education policies, and she's also talking about how our macroeconomy is going to feed these things. So she's looking at how she can mobilize the youth. So welcome to Master Debate 2015.
Economy, we must not leave that alone. We must take advantage of that comparative advantage. And that advantage we have.
Feel free to post any questions you have.
And therefore, we're looking to internationalize our export services in the oil and gas sector. We have over 100 years of expertise, and that is why we're looking to partner with Venezuela to monetize the manifold field which lies in the jointly. We're looking, in fact, tomorrow we're meeting with His Excellency, the President of Ghana, who will be visiting us, where we commissioned tomorrow to handle the south with our White campus. But I have a bilateral with him previous to that, where we're talking about other services sector in the energy-related industries, partnering with Ghana and with others. Not to be the mentor, but there's so much to say. And I totally agree with you. The challenge for any government, including mine, will be the falling oil and gas prices. Sure. Thank you. I will take the panel to the panel for information. No, that's it. Good night, sir. In 2010, we campaigned heavily on the concept of change, and there's a high expectation among the electorate for change.
Okay, so Derek Ransom is up now asking her question about how the change platform she campaigned on.
Of the state. The state generates the whole production capacity in this country, in which we have basically we utilize patronage as a tool of actually spreading the resources. How do you intend in the next 5 years to reduce this level of patronage and expanding the services that you talk about to be able to more detail, especially when you look at what is happening in the energy sector? And how are you going to diversify outside of the energy sector? We're speaking about state patronage. I think we want to remember there must be a balance. And that is to say that as we develop the numbers and we get greater revenue streams.
Okay, so now she's answering a question on state patronage. This should be interesting considering how much of the state patronage has gone out to family and friends.
Which I speak about. But there is one most vulnerable Those are the most new. That's why I talk about people-centered development. And you work in
there you are, Ruel.
Hi.
Hi. Did you go on to CNMG yet?
No, not yet.
Go on to CNMG. I need you to see the foolishness that's going on here. Kamala is sitting down and talking to 4 people. They're all answering her, asking her questions, and she's responding to them. So it's not a debate; it's a conversation.
CNMG.
Yeah. It should be. Let me look for the link. Let me look for the link and share the link with
Yeah,
you.
do that.
Hold a second.
I think we will be referring more to the secret and reality programs. But again,
ctntworld.com and their live stream, right?
So there must be a level, I would call it a social safety net. There must be a social safety net.
TNT
Those who are not able at this time to take care of themselves.
world.com. ctntworld.com.
I mentioned it before. Educational children, the young and not so young, we are opening up numerous programs at the technical level, at the school level.
Look like you loaded.
Children persons and skills. When we talk about the first ever drilling school in Trinidad and Tobago, the first ever aviation campus in Trinidad and Tobago, the first ever, and we can go on, they were creating new skill sets, new competencies to take our young people forward, to help to remove them from the social safety net. So, yes, it is to be trusted. Right, you want to question? And we're also looking at.
I've sent you the link in the chat.
Okay.
You seen it?
I've seen it now. Okay.
Very good.
Which are being sort of dependent on jobs from the state. That is where, again, our business of removing state control of certain sectors and certain companies. That is why we did, for example, the IPO with XCB.
Right. So you have this. Let me bring you up to speed on what has happened here. Right. You have a situation where all of the leaders of the main political parties or the major political parties were supposed to be doing this. They're supposed to be doing this debate, right?
Yes.
Because this is actually the first time we're using the debate system in our election, in a general election, because we've had it for the THA election, which is kind of like a local government election, and I'm using that really loosely. And so you have a situation now where they're trying it at the general level. The Debates Commission sets up a debate, and the Prime Minister decides she's avoiding the Debates Commission debate, and she hosts her own debate with herself. I can't make it up, you know. I can't make it up. Cannot make it up at all. So how is it over there in Georgetown this evening?
Well, we passed through the sort of similar pantomime, similar farce a couple months ago. But the remarkable things, you actually have a debates commission, which we which is a luxury thing for us. But we've had similar situations where
okay, give me a second. There's a new question they're asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're asking if she's re-elected, what's she going to do? What is she going to do to prevent all of those ministers whose portfolios she had to revoke their portfolios and fire them? Because you know she fired about 25 ministers in the last.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Let me hear.
How do you determine that a human being who shows a potential and a promise today will continue with that in the future?
She's essentially saying that she had no way of knowing that they were going to be corrupt. You know, she can't determine that.
She can't prevent it.
Yeah, she can't. Exactly, she can't. It's not her fault. It's never her fault. Eh? You need to understand that. She's a strong female prime minister, and nothing is ever her fault. That's the kind of leadership we get here. I'm wearing one of the T-shirts from their last election.
Tax.
They wanted to get rid of property tax. So at least that's one of their platforms, getting rid of property tax. They've not gotten rid of it. They're actually going to reinstate property tax this year.
The way that we intend to deal with it is to make sure that we have rules and regulations and codes of conduct to because it's likely to be firm that would help us as I said to keep them in check and in balance.
It's 220. 220.
To the different view. We will not believe even when there were allegations being made of impropriety in governance and in actions, but we will know they were not removed persons. I don't want to name anyone at this point in time.
She says she's not going to name blame. Oh, one of the other persons for the hangout is going to come in just now, Nicholas Thompson. Nicholas just started he's located in North America, and he's begun doing an investigative blog. Most of it is like a video blog, and he pieces together stuff. So like the prison break we had over the weekend, did you follow that story?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you guys,
he did an investigative piece on it to point out, what his take on the things that have happened. Dion Jennings.
Access to prisoners.
Was that?
I said the amazing access that the prisoners there have to
to Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. It's also, I think they put up something with fashion shows. Money.
I don't know what is prison like in Guyana?
Generally terrible. I mean, I don't think it's anywhere close. It's someplace you fear.
Okay.
You gotta say they're frightened like 10 months in jail.
Yeah.
Here it's more like 10 days. I mean, if you go on remand.
Wow.
Pretty scary.
As soon as I get your report, whether it be for partial recognition or full recognition.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen here, right? Are you hearing stuff or just seeing stuff?
I mean, I'm hearing it, but I'm thinking I have it loaded as well.
Okay, cool.
Who's the man in the suit?
That is Morgan Job. He is an economist. He worked under the Basdeo-Kande administration, so he is or was a member of the United National Congress, which is Kamala's party, and he now functions as a radio host with one of the radio stations here. So he's one of the moderators.
Set up this thing here.
They use state television. So essentially, the UNC, because it's still in government, used the state television to throw a debate, and the board of state television is made up of people who are close friends and family members of the United National Congress.
We have had the same issue here, which we only agreed that televised debate, I think, on NCN.
To access
and with them setting the moderators, which of course the debate never came off, and then there was an issue of we don't have an organized debate commission or stuff like that. It was probably something I should suggest.
Right. Well, we have an organized one, but there's a sense in which it's pretty weak. Maybe because of the type of people that are on the commission, but they gave very wishy-washy instructions. So the other parties are holding forth on the instructions, but the government decided to do its own thing,
But doesn't this what's going on right now defeat the purpose of the debate? Isn't this just an interview?
Of course, it defeats the purpose of a debate. This isn't a debate. What it is essentially is the Prime Minister sitting down on television and answering prepared questions, right?
From safe sources.
From very safe sources. As a matter of fact, they even got rid of the call-in session that was supposed to happen. So she's only taking questions from she's only taking vetted questions.
If our experience is anything to go by,
yeah,
I think you have a incumbent that is pretty
In fact, we do have a number
I have pretty low confidence when it comes to this, electoral
construction projects.
fortunes.
I want to say hello to Dion Jennings. Hi, Dion. Nice to see you. Nice to have you. Ruel, Dion is a cartoonist here.
Uh-huh.
He does a cartoon strip called A Quick Leave of the Senses, and it's pretty much hated by anybody who likes Kamala Prasad Visasa.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. Eh?
Say hello to viewers. Ooh, and Nicholas is here as well. Hi, Nicholas.
Fortunes.
I want to say hello to Dion Jennings. Hi, Dion. Nice to see you. Nice to have you. Nicholas does the 14th. Dion is a cartoonist here. So, okay, I think I've got there's a cartoon strip called A Quick Leave of the Senses and log in. So Dion is pretty much hated by anybody who likes Kamala Prasad Visasa.
I think he has some cross. Pretty amazing.
Say hello to Nicholas. And Nicholas is here as well. Hi, Nicholas.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Dion Jennings. Hi, Dion. I think we have too many computers on. Dion, how many computers do you have on?
Hold on.
Okay, I think I've got there's a cartoon strip called A Quick Leave of the Senses and log in. So Dion is okay, so I'm gonna have you guys pay attention to Kamala's response a little bit because I am gonna ask you questions
1 second.
on it afterwards, right?
Good evening, everyone.
I think we have two. Okay, so they've gone on a break, and when they come back, they're going to talk international. So,
They're on break?
yeah, they're going on break now, and they're doing questions on national security. So now is a good time for me to introduce you guys up to each other. Dion is the one in the blue t-shirt. He's the cartoonist. Nicholas is the young, handsome one with both earphones in air. And Ruel is the one that looks like a male version of Rhoda. He doesn't comb his hair. Fairly belligerent. So Ruel is out in Guyana. Nicholas is somewhere in North America. And Dion is, God knows where Dion is. Dion, where are you right now? Dion, I'm not hearing you. Let me see if I can raise volume.
It might be his system because.
Are you hearing me fine, Ruel?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. And I'm hearing Nicholas fine. I'm raising volume on everybody's just in case. Oh, okay, good, cool. Yeah, I'm not hearing Dion, but I'm hearing everybody else. Right, Nicholas, were you able to catch any of the interview thus far, or the conversation thus far?
Well, I just joined in, so I didn't catch anything yet.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, when they come back, I will let you take your time and pay attention to what she's saying because, of course, I'm gonna ask you questions. Dion, can you say something to me? Let me see if I'm hearing you. Still not hearing you, but your mouth looks really nice when it's moving.
Might be a mic issue.
I feel it's a mic issue because we're not hearing him. And you know what?
It's not registering. It's not registering. If you check the mic indicator, it's not registering.
Yeah, Dion, check your sound because I'm still not hearing you. Not hearing you. But you could keep doing things with your face. Nope.
Okay, yeah,
well, what is that in your head? Oh, I see. You're using effects to do things. All right. I'm going to show you a permanent effect. I was thinking of doing it. But then I said, nah. I'll be a good girl.
I'm sorry, this is just interesting.
Lasana is going to join us. He hasn't said, he's meant to let me know when he gets home. And as soon as he gets home, oh, Ruel, those horns are cool. Keep those horns. Those ones work for you. Very, very Hellboy. Very Hellboy. Yeah, so tell me about what was going on in Guyana just in the lead up to your election.
Yes, you had the same. Or you know, we had in 2011, and then we had a sort of forced election early this year.
Yeah.
We had the same initially. We had the very first in 2011. We had the very first presidential debates that the then incumbent candidate basically got his ass kicked at one debate. He withdrew from another one. And the last time, in 2015, we had a series of conditions that, in effect, said that we're not ready to debate publicly.
Okay, they're going to stop that.
So you basically have a multi-panel interview, a multi-person interview. You have a panel interview.
Yeah. You have a panel having a conversation with her. It's a Q&A. That's what it is. It's a Q&A.
Yeah. We've had this thing. We had similar production, but we didn't have an entire panel.
Okay. The point of a debate is to have people, you know, going back and forth and refuting what each other is saying.
And the contrast policy.
Yeah, exactly.
How is this selling in Trinidad? I mean,
How is it what?
Selling in Trinidad, and let me say this: you have a far more critical.
Well, the thing is this, right, Roel? Give me a second. I need to find my headphones. The thing is this. There are a lot of people that aren't in favor of how she has gone about doing the debates. I think the only people that are really keen on it or cool with it would, of course, be her supporters. But for the most part, you know, it's like, well, why? Why are you doing it this way, and why are you avoiding the obvious?
Yes. Well, I think it's a case of.
But I mean, it's a norm, you know, the whole, you know, if you have hardcore supporters, the hardcore supporters are into it. If you don't have hardcore supporters, you know, then they're not into it. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But there should be some sort of, I'm pretty sure there's some sort of critical neutral ground that are critical neutral critical actors that have a pronouncement on this.
Well, yeah, the thing is, that's the point of the debate commission. The debate commission should have provided and created that neutral space and said, okay, these are the rules, these are the criteria, and so if there are going to be any debates at all, you have to obey the rules and the criteria. The Prime Minister has been able to circumvent those rules because she can lay access to state resources and use state television to do her own thing.
Is there any state media framework or legislation that stipulates equitable access at the very least?
I think once it's state media, yes, there's supposed to be equitable access.
They're supposed to be, as happened here, but we had a case where the then opposition, the now government, couldn't pay.
Well, you see, the thing about it, here's what stimulates equitable access. The board of the media, of state media.
But the board should not have a say in we should be programming. But more generally sets policy.
The CEO of the station is also a state appointment.
We had a similar, but that there was our problem. Interestingly enough, the CEO of state television and radio, NCN, is actually still on the job.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing for us. But I think from from a regional perspective,
Yeah.
I think stuff like this access to information, which I think that most nations would have enshrined in their respective constitutions, freedom to receive and disseminate information. That should be included in whatever state media establishment there is. I don't know. For me, hopefully you'll get some sort of turnover like we did. Although ours is special in itself, because this is after 22 years, 23 years. Sorry.
She's saying right now that she doesn't regret having not bought the offshore patrol vessels that we were supposed to have gotten in 2010, right? The irony of the situation is that because she never got those offshore patrol vessels, it means that we've had unmanned borders for the last 5 years. So drugs, humans, ammunition just passing through our borders like that.
And you have a, I don't think these things usually very hard.
We have a serious drug problem.
Oh yeah, and a gun violence problem as well. So did she give a reason for not supporting it?
Drugs just passing through our borders like all kinds of reasons. So hold a second, I'm listening to this question here. Leon, say something.
You hear me now?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, good.
I'm hearing you now. Good.
The young people who are getting drawn into that issue. And I see some reason is that.
Yes, we need to aspects of the question you've asked. What do you do with the young people? I come up again to a heavy emphasis on education and training.
Dion, you don't fall close at all, boy.
How's that?
You don't fall close at all, boy. That's two better clothes that's really back there.
With that threat because some
this place due for overhaul long time now. I'll get off my tail and do something with it, but soon.
She's making some comment about national security. I want to hear her.
We'll be meeting regularly. We are partnering with the US, with the United Kingdom.
I'm going to screen share the interview for now. And we'll touch base in a couple of minutes, all right?
Up to the minute news. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
Because of that resolution, we are not on our own and we can never fight the ISIS threat on our own. It has to be a global fight against the ISIS threat.
We live in a country that went through 1990.
That's right.
I think that we learn from that. So we have that. We don't have people involved in that. And I think the country is on edge because of the consistent and persistent rationale from certain sections of government in the country. That it's all about.
Don't you looking weird with hair on your head?
And?
You recognize him?
You're looking weird with hair and makeup.
I want to disagree with you that we are not on top of it. Maybe we could be higher up on the top. I want to disagree with your view that we are not on top of it. Coming out of the 1994, remember, I had established years later, when I came into government, we came into government, we had the Commission on Fire Institute. That had been asked for, begged for since 1990, so you could see where we went wrong, where we failed. No other government took up that challenge. I did. And coming out of that report, the recommendations from that 1991 core report, those have guided us, and we have taken measures and put things in place. And that is why today, for 5 years we've been in government. That is why today we don't have the kind of instability that you see elsewhere happening. That is why when these deplorable things happened last week, within a very short space of time, it was brought under control. I think just over the weekend, incident happened on Friday, and that over the weekend that had been brought under control. Right now, persons are being interrogated and matters being investigated. So how these persons came out of the prisons? How did they get the guns? That is being investigated. So We do have measures.
She's talking about control. They have for months now. We're hearing about scanners coming down. What control they have?
Listen, it's more than a year we're hearing about them scanners coming down, but 4 months now we're hearing that they're going to be here. This is ridiculous.
And the port like forever.
The port must be constipated. That's the only thing to explain why nothing moving.
And you know, I would have respect for them if they would admit that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Because sometimes the then again we're talking very heavily with our allies, traditional allies, US and United Kingdom, for the technology, even the CCTV, voice recognition and so on. Then sometimes, but I can back with them that this may be one of the cases they've been able to bring to the justice system, to bring to the courts. There's a lot more than that, but as I say, the measures are still in the situation.
Okay, and also, those are some of the positive things. Now, with respect to the decision-making process on national security issues, there are a number of controversial matters that you probably should be able to explain. For example, the issue on the mind, the state of emergency, the allocations of life support, and other situations like that. How do you explain those real threats, if you will, on whom? As you said,
Okay, so some of the major scandals, he's asking a question about that.
The population wants
We're going to give a generic response.
Yep.
This answer to you anyway. This answer about decision-making process.
There's a decision-making process you want me to speak of. We are responsibility that are taken by, for example, those decisions with it was more than its own objectives, which is to say, to assist those who may be vulnerable, at risk in hotspot areas and so on. It is when it went down for implementation, then you had those administrative issues that made it the scandal that it became. Of course, the TTPS is still investigating that matter, as many others have been investigating. So, is there something wrong with this decision-making process? I say no. It is when it comes to implementation of administrative processes, and that is where the flow lies, and that is what we need to fix, and that is what we put our heads together and have been doing in order to deal with those administrative issues. I will come back to the procurement legislation. We will come back to the procurement legislation. Because there you were outsourcing. In other words, you were procuring goods and services, and because you didn't have a proper regime, others within the system, within that structure for implementation, may have done things that were improper and illegal and should not have been done.
Bear in mind the anxiety that exists right now in our country, as you mentioned over the weekend. This state of emergency, the rationale for that, was it beneficial? And the decision making which may run right. Those situations, because this country is about leadership. Crime is a big issue in this country, and people want a leader that they can trust and manage the processes.
Well, Ms. Rosemary lasted over 2 days, I believe. There's a fair decision-making process. I go back to this article as well. Having discovered that flow, we took action on it. And that is a difference I see between our leadership as opposed to the previous administration that was there before us. Where there are flaws and things that have happened, there's what you do about it. So livestock, when we discovered what was happening, again, we sent a video of it, we sent it to the police, we sent it to the DP for investigation. The Rishi Rama issue, the flaw of it was that whatever information came, that there was incorrect information. When we discovered that, we acted on it within a day or two. Which other one was, livestock issue on state of emergency. The state of emergency.
How could you say it was incorrect information? Rashmi gave her a fake CV.
And she was supported by Rashmi Senior.
And Julie Brown, didn't Julie Brown back it and say that yes?
She brought it to her, she brought it to the Prime Minister. And they had ministers, Dukaran and Subhash
and Sandy and Prakash Ramada.
Yeah, that she's qualified and she's qualified.
Yes, it is my state of emergency.
And over 2 days, she said, we had a public outcry more than a week.
It was more than a week. It wasn't 2 days. It was more than a week.
Yeah, I forget Aisha was there.
For the arrest of 9,000 young black men thrown in jail over a 3-month period. It was a success, but they were all released from jail without any charges, one of which so they say
Who's the lady in K hat?
some sort of compensation for it. If they're elected and not still in office, can we expect another state of emergency if the crime situation gets out of hand? And that would be totally speculated to envisage that my next man is going to have a state of emergency. It will depend on the circumstances, it will depend on the advice of those who are in charge of the security forces to get information to us.
Oh, we have bread.
9,000
Bread and what kind?
Vegetables
and no.
All the media reports, Madam Prime Minister, and people from the area that I represented, and I was just picked up off the street, some of them on their way to work and sent to jail. My second question, Honorable Prime Minister, the crime situation continues to spiral out.
Someone asking if they were all black men, yes? Carlos serious about life?
Inside, two of which are now making all sorts of serious accusations. Do you believe that also contributes to the instability of Trinidad and Tobago as it is? The situation is not out of control.
We saw that on Friday.
Crimes have been reduced by 50%. Murders have also been reduced by 50%.
My girl said the crime situation not out of control, yes? Prisoner muffin taxi.
I'm walking cool up the road. No, she's not wrong. It's under control. It's under their control.
In my view, that our national movement, do you think that contributes to the situation that we're in? What is the situation?
Yes.
For various reasons. We will not perform the functions in a manner after very strict allegations has been called by now the indictments coming out of the United States. The other ministers are removed within the circumstances there. This speaking is a country stability in the country. That's what you have to wait in the back to make my government security. The campaign. At this time, I am not going to be distracted by the scandalous and totally false allegations made by the gentleman. However, my lawyers have been monitoring it, and first, September 7th, there will be an avalanche. And she was supposed to be flattening.
Yeah, God.
You're avoiding Jack like that, boy.
Delivered so much. We work towards getting a second term, and that's where I'm concentrating on. Those matters, Aisha, will be dealt with post-election.
This security center was through social media posts. The first will be Prime Minister social media post and Prime Minister in time to the Honourable PM, why is the Acting Commissioner of Police still acting or prevent support from being confirmed?
So, two questions from social media and then end the national security segment. She's not answered anything.
It is something I would consider in this first term. It is something we so want to be the second term. I think the consultation or multi-consultation process will be very clear.
Still acting?
Commissioner is acting because of the way the I think it's really some piece of legislation. I normally ask to support that legislation for the appointment of the commissioner police. Comments which were sent to the opposition asking for their views and their suggestions as to how we should change that piece of legislation. Of course, it would have needed a special majority and the rest is history. Before the opposition would have been moved change to that particular legislation. And that is why, we will work with the opposition party and then also move the legislative changes that are necessary to build the international leadership to change 2015 or we can
I noticed they're not being allowed to tackle her on it.
So they're going to come back in a few minutes and raise questions about healthcare and education. So she just dealt with, I suppose, what she was her toughest area, national security, and she answered none of the questions. She just deflected stuff. This woman is special, yeah?
About previous government, but they are doing all these things. The previous government that they're doing it. Manning did the same thing a year, 5 years ago, and they keep over. There's an online thing with a couple of people here right now.
Do you want me to stop video on you, Dion?
No, that's alright.
Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Ruel, let me ask you this though.
Armo.
What security issues are you guys grappling with in GT right now?
Well, we are one of the highest, I think we continue to be, and it's now one of the highest transshipment points for narcotics, which has its own issues.
Mm-hmm.
We've had an upsurge in violent crime ever since election day.
Mm-hmm.
I would not rigorously deny any statement that says it's coordinated.
Yeah, this is my
and we've had some, and it's eased down now, particularly after one group of people have been captured.
How long do we get to go?
So it's eased down in the past week and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some violent crimes. But surprisingly, we've had investigations. We've had investigations. We've had people being charged as opposed to people being shot without any thing. We've had policemen who've been investigated, etc. So
right.
I think we're very much in a transitional security process. But we've still got a long way to go when it comes to depoliticization of the police force in general and cleaning it up.
How is your police force politicized? Because here we have a situation where the police force is, for the most part, it's got more Afro-descended people in the police force than Indo-descended people. So that became a bone of contention fairly early on in this government's regime, where you had somebody talking about there needed to be ethnic equity in the police force. Further to that, our police force comes across as being pretty corrupt. So what's yours like?
Well, it's the same ethnic makeup. The difference is that the previous government, which has had similar complaints, there were attempts. There were attempts, but the politicization eventually went beyond ethnic considerations, and it went to the thing of who would basically follow orders from the powers that be, who told the line. So you had a typical instance would be one no-nonsense, incorruptible officer who was on track to be commissioner. A guy called David Ramnarine, who's Indian, who disobeyed orders, who raised issues last election of funds being allocated for policemen that weren't actually spent on policemen.
Okay, she's back. I'm gonna do us here again, and we'll finish this a little later. All right?
Yeah, sure. Is she back?
Yeah, she's coming. They're starting back.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
We've had different administrations mark money programs in education, healthcare, housing, public alleviation. But after 50 odd years of independence, we still have levels of discrimination and are just extremely institutionalized. In your view, are there any new types of methodologies or projects besides housing, education, and healthcare that you will consider? Well, first we have to say, if it is one achievement in this first term office that I feel very enthused and very
well, she's not going to talk about it like fun.
Social development. And I say because every program, every project that has been aimed to persons in this sector that we're speaking of, every single one has been for all our citizens. So when I gave the laptops, I didn't go around asking which race you live, which space you live on. I didn't ask what party you belong to. I gave the laptops to every single child. When we did it to Xyphon, again, we didn't ask what race, space of race, or what origin. To those who were in need, who qualified under the law, we gave it to every child who qualified accordingly. So there is no discrimination with that. When we built the 100 schools that we built in this first term, and we didn't ask where you were from, what was your race, what was your religion, your space of race, it was for everyone. When we are building, in fact, the commission and handover of the children's hospital, no one will be asked what is your race, your space, your place, your religion, or party. Every child will benefit from that. When we increase the pensions, when we increase the minimum wage, it was to benefit every single one. And that is what we're doing. So you ask me, what will I do in my second term to deal with the issue of discrimination? So simple, because you have to study all these projects. You still have segments of this population feeling alienated. So it's something much deeper psychologically. So therefore, it is not a reality that there is discrimination, but it is again the perception that there is this. I think Dr. Job has spoken a lot about this. It is a perception. Never remove that perception. We have to continue to work and to work harder in our delivery of goods and services to all people. There's been no discrimination. I people say on the opposition platform, someone saying, when we came into office, we fired 5,000 PLM looking people. What does that mean? 5,000 PLM looking people. What does a PLM look like?
Ask Gypsy. Ask Anil. They'll tell.
That's what it is. So it is a perception, I'm saying. In our first incarnation in government, you may recall we passed the Equality of Opportunity. And that legislation has been in the books for quite a while. It's something that we may want to review and revamp. And we have had a look at it to modernize it and make it more accessible and effective for persons who are of the view that they may have been being discriminated in a particular regard. So legislatively, yes, we can look at that. But again, it's education and training and information sharing. If it is a perception, when the reality will affect something totally different. So the ethics topic again was, then so informative. The words was to really create a kind of panic of fear. But I give assurance, every project and program we've done has been studied to be. We can give you the reality of the problem. Like I said, I have 2 parts. again on the land that policy by your government. This is my other what is your government policy to address the what is your government's position to deal with this? So the first one I can we have go to the parliament to represent I am committed to it. Done it again. I've done it material. They should have been there from 1998 to January 1992. A lot of other things before in that category. The first legalization that's what we passed. So most but I'm committed to one person a lot of things will legalize those first. But they make another benefit. There's other governments. Not caught by the person. And then to the state lands. Private lands so this is so one place I promised to do that in the first 50 days of my parliament being convened in South so this
You play old girl in the background there?
Huh?
You playing music in the background?
That is. I'm in office. My office is next to a karaoke club.
Okay, fair enough.
A hotel.
Okay.
But the irony is that this is a hotel that was supported and built up largely by entrepreneurship, corruption.
Okay.
And the former president would go and sing there every Thursday night. I tried to step across to see if he's there.
I shall be happy to work with you in those areas. We do have plans for those. It's a very good. I just got really like The choice of one to pick up. That has one biggest never look at education system. What that is and it's that child, the socialization of that child in the whole that child from 1 to 7, and I was 3 and a half, and he was 7 years of life, and that is why we cannot do all of them. Between 3 to 5. Let's not that energy from the United Nations. Is was parenting skills and training. The other programs in continuation with state academics and welfare that is taking place for those as I distribute criticisms of it.
What is that?
No, really.
Yes, I recognize it. Yes, there will criticisms level. You're sitting in that position. Inside the screenings, you do that screenings now. Feel one feeling of feelings as a ways is because of
Talk for one, it's like nothing. All this stuff I heard in the forum, the Monday night forum,
Send us an email, questions at cnng.tv or send a text to.
All right, they're going on break again. Dion, I want to pull you in here. You've been following the Monday night forums on there, right? How is this different from how Monday night forums, Dion?
I'll tell you what this sounds like. You see how the one-on-one forum cottage forum thing that Dr. Rowley has, like when
the conversations with Dr. Rowley.
That is a lot like what this is, but everything that she said in her forum, minus the bacchanal, minus the she just like encapsulating everything and bringing it out here in this with all the details and everything. It's just more of what we have weeks and weeks now.
She seems to be skipping over particular issues, though. I mean, like, when I jump back to the national security area there, where she says crime 50% of the time is down, we don't have a crime problem. Then she sidesteps the SOE thing, saying that the S1, the state of emergency, was a success, not pointing out that she would have arrested upwards of 8,000 people, 80% of whom were Afro-Trinidadian in terms of their descent, and it essentially released almost all of them uncharged. They were just detained for 3 months for no reason.
And there was nothing we saw, nothing she was able to say, or nothing we had seen since the SOE that could give she could use as a measure of any success that she's talking about. I don't know what success she
and this 100 schools billing thing, I don't understand why the Prime Minister keeps saying she's built schools when what she's done is refurbished schools.
That's it. They said the same thing when they said they built an airport in 1998 or 97 or whatever. They built an airport, not rebuilt. They said they built an airport. People weren't flying in 1995. But she built 100 schools. But I can't tell me some centers and so on.
Lasana has joined us, fellas, just in case you're all wondering who is that bald. Who's that bald guy in the red shirt there? Lasana Livebird. Hi, Lasana.
Yes, hi everybody.
Hi. They're on break right now, so we just kind of chatting a little bit. Lasana, how much of the conversation have you actually heard? Not our conversation.
More than it's probably healthy. Yeah.
When the debate?
Anything from you?
No, I meant from the Prime Minister. Have you heard? Have you been listening to the Prime Minister?
Yeah, I heard a fair amount. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Okay.
A fair amount.
Sorry about that. The water, I swallowed the water.
It's like listening to Sarud speak or something.
Yeah, it is like that. When they come back, we will kind of pause, and then at the end of the debate thing, I'm just gonna ask a couple questions at each of you, dependent on what she's talked about. And Ruel, if you need me to give you any context at all, you just ask me for whatever context you need to get, because I don't know how much of our politics you're following on a daily basis.
Not the specifics, but a fair amount of it, because I see a lot of parallels with what we've had here.
Yeah, there are a lot of parallels. So I see everybody is back. Nicholas, did you feed the baby and put the baby to bed?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Lasana, do you need to go and feed your baby and put it to bed?
Yeah.
I figured you didn't. Lasana?
No.
Do you have any babies that you need to feed and put to bed?
No, no, everybody stays up late like me here.
Okay.
We don't do mornings. We go at
Dion?
this time.
My baby is busy ducking the camera right now.
Okay.
I have
Okay. All right, the back on Derek Ramston is asking her a question.
To better build. In my position, I think I do my personal challenges, but that's life, and that's what the question is about. So pragmatic is we define What National Leaders Exchange on Thursday, July 30th, live at 8 p.m. Watch CTV, Talk TV 91.9 and StayTuneToWorld.com. Participation of Prime Minister
Okay, right. Are you hearing me? I think I might have been talking to myself because I was on mute. What are your thoughts on the leadership questions? I will start with Nicholas. Nicholas, what did you think about her responses in that last section?
Well, I think some of the responses were very vague, especially questions. Her response pertaining to the budget question about the government has spent over 400 billion, and she didn't come prepared in terms of in terms of actual figures of allotments of what is actually being spent in the country. But she was saying, well, a large number went to wages and without any specifics. And this is the problem that we're facing because the format of the debate doesn't provide for an effective debate, which encompasses, opposing views and whatnot. And I think that the format of the entire exchange, well, it's not even an exchange because it's just one person speaking. But I think some of the responses were very vague. I don't think it represented an authentic, because this is what a leadership debate is also supposed to bring across, is an authentic view of what the next prime minister will be, right? And I don't think that viewers are getting an authentic view. And it ties back around to the format of how everything is done as well.
Nasana, can I have you jump in here and share some of your thoughts?
On the exchange generally? Sorry?
Yeah, the exchange, the bits that you saw in that last segment. What are your thoughts?
It's far from inspiring, you know. I guess she isn't doing too badly. I think she's what? I'm not sure if I'll say she's in front right now. It's pretty close.
Let me play the devil's advocate here and be a UNC supporter, but she looks so pretty and she sounds so eloquent. No, she looks prime ministerial. I mean, she looks pretty. She's wearing a nice blouse. She's speaking in long sentences and she's not sounding slurred or anything. So, what more would you want from your prime minister at this stage?
Well, the whole thing is that without, for instance, follow-up questions or the threat of follow-up questions or an opposing point of view or the threat of an opposing point of view, then really and truly the whole thing is just a sham. You know, and some of the questions are bizarre. And speaking of bizarre, here's more of a joke. So,
okay, all right, let's go back. Let's go back in. Yeah. What's that?
Same question that was asked Barack Obama in his run-up to the elections, and my question to you.
Okay, all right. I've lowered the volume on Paul Richards because there's only so much Paul Richards I can take in my life. So I'm going to ask each of you two questions, and we will start with Dion first,
Okay.
then Anna, then Nicholas, then Ruel. Right? It's just two questions. The first question is: did you think the format worked at all? And if it did work for you, how did it work for you?
Exactly.
And the other question would be, what was the main takeaway things that you remembered from this debate? So Dion, did it work for you, and what did you take away from the debate?
I was not exactly expecting Bacchanal to start the
Dion, can you come closer to your system because we're not hearing you very well?
Alright, you hear me?
Yes, much better.
I was not exactly expecting Bacchanal and fireworks. Still, after all, something dealing with issues. But the format for this whole thing, I couldn't even call this a conversation because a conversation is something that goes both ways or multiple ways in this case. There was no option to rebut anything or correct her on some sort of on a generic responses or bring some sort of historical correctness to the whole thing. You know, the whole thing was just a colossal waste of 90 minutes. I mean, I'm glad I watched it, but I didn't learn anything. I didn't feel inspired to. If I was sitting on the fence, I'll build the fence higher.
Okay, so there was for you then there are no takeaway points. There's nothing like tomorrow somebody asks you what did you learn from this debate? What do you say? What do you come up with?
If I let's say
whose child is being abused?
Not my man enough.
Dion, can you repeat that because somebody's child was being abused?
If I needed to find a reason, let's say I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning. I've seen some of the things that have been done, just a few things, but I need something more to really bring me over into her side. I couldn't see anything. I was just getting generalized talk from her. Nothing to make me go, all right, yeah, definitely. Especially since I've been hearing the other parties, the other group, enunciate things that they want to do, and she couldn't win me over even as a fence sitter.
Okay.
This whole thing didn't move.
Okay. Lasana?
Yeah. It reminded me of when Jack Warner and who were the other two? Was it Suraj Ramachan and so on when they had the 3 token heads? Remember they tried it once?
Yeah. It was Jack, Suraj, I think, and it was if it wasn't Munilal, it was Anil, because isn't that the conversation where that's when they started to demonize Asher?
Yeah, they did. Someone would think it was Anil,
Well then I think Munilal was on it.
I don't think it was Munilal either. It's somebody who was utterly boring, I guess, that we forgot. We don't remember Munilal or Anil.
I think
they are more memorable.
But I know the panel you're talking about. That's the one where Black talk about. I know where she lives in. I know where she lives.
And they had their own time to do whatever they want and say what they like, just like tonight, really. And it was so utterly uninspiring that even they cancelled their own show.
Yeah.
And I see tonight, being the same thing. It does nothing. Was a very dry, long political speech. They may as well have played something from the Monday night forum and be done with it. Really and truly, I suppose, like I say, yes, she dressed well. I don't know what else we could say. And the same goes for the panel. Like I said, without follow-up questions. She was asked just now if she ever smoked marijuana, and a 17-year-old in the room here is saying if she did smoke, why would she say she smoked? And I mean,
Exactly.
sounds like a fair point there. If there's as tough as the grilling is going to be, you know,
Yeah.
so it was a waste of time and money, as it.
Okay.
You know, I'll have to kind of pinch myself and wake up to even do any kind of serious response to it.
I hear you. I hear you. Nicholas, your thoughts?
Well, I don't think at all the entire purpose of the debate was, of the discussion was for the nation to get a better understanding of the media and to really understand who we will be electing for the next prime minister. And I think the format of the debate failed to deliver in authenticity so that the viewers could actually see, you know, the inner, and without that actual format of having, the nation needs to see Dr. Rowley debate Mrs. Prasad Bisessa. All right? And I think if we don't, if I don't think it'll happen, but I think the nation needs to see that proper debate with both prime ministerial candidates. I think it was very unfair of CNMG to continue to refer to the prime ministerial candidate, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisessa, as Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisessa. Because in my view, the purpose of such debates or such as exchanges is to present candidates, and by continuously addressing her in an authoritative, in a position of authority, right, in a fixed position as Prime Minister, it gives her an unfair advantage, a really unfair advantage for other candidates, right? Everybody should have been, but if in a first world debate, everybody is addressed as a candidate and not with any subjective title. So I think the entire format of it, and the Prime Minister was, you know, she was very comfortable because she was on a state-owned program. You know, it wasn't anything unusual, and it is when somebody is uncomfortable when you get to see their true demeanor. It's when you get to see how they will deal with issues under stress. And clearly the Prime Minister was seated. She was not under any stress. She was not under, though I would commend some of the questions that the moderators raised as they pertain to issues that the nation continues to face in terms of credibility, in terms of housing, in terms of spending. Some of the questions by the moderators, I think that they were objective enough. However, I believe that just the entire format didn't allow us to see a true Kamala Prasad Bisessa.
Okay, let me ask this then. Tomorrow at, you know, let's say 10, 11 o'clock in the day, I ask you, what do you remember from the debate? What are you going to remember? What's your takeaway point?
Well, I won't remember much other than the Prime Minister speaking. You know, I won't remember much from the debate. There wasn't any substance to the debate, or it wasn't a debate. It was a conversation between four people who are not running for Prime Minister.
Fair enough. Thanks. Ruel, I left you for last because you're not Trinidadian, so I want you to kind of, you know, round this up for us. What did you think about the format of the debate, the exchange, the conversation, the whatever, and what would be your takeaway point? When you're talking to your friends tomorrow in Georgetown, what would be your takeaway point?
I don't know, I guess having come out of active part in a pretty bruising elections, I think I recognize sort of at least a very semi-scripted performance when I see it, and it was very much that it was a performance. Even the purportedly tough questions. I suspect the questions would have been prepped for within a certain range. As you said, I think you noted that the questions were tough, but she sort of wavered in them. If this were not a scripted performance, the follow-up on the questions that were adequately answered would have been present. There was no follow-up. There was no sort of even semi-hard talk sort of.
Yeah.
I don't get a sense, even as an outsider, granted an outsider who has been tangentially following a couple of issues. There's been, I would come across with something, change my perspective. I mean, I think she mentioned part of the scripting. I'll give you an example where the scripting sort of falls short. There's the mention of, I think, Kublal Singh, who I don't think she mentions by name.
No, she doesn't.
In a part of the narrative or part of the performance in which she's supposed to be allegedly battling between a public policy decision and a human decision. I think is that you have a human rights concern that it sort of moves you and affects you as a person. You might want to know the person's name.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's a soul man, so
yeah.
That shows that it's a bit of performance. You don't want to. Some advisor says that, you know what, Kublal Singh is
Dion says that what she said is correct. During the fast, she kept referring to him as Wayne, right?
And now
she can't call his name, right? It's amazing.
Then you got a sense that is a measured decision.
Yeah.
That the decision not to call a name is came up more in a PR department than off the cuff. Sort of thing.
I agree. I think it came across as very cold that she couldn't call his name. For me, the one thing that I will remember tomorrow are the number of lies and inaccuracies that she had in her responses. There's so many things that she twisted around and made up and was just quite frankly extremely dishonest about. And I would have thought that given that this is something that is going to go on record as part of how she's promoting herself as a leader, that she would have tried to stay away from making up facts and from lying about issues and accomplishments and using fake figures. So that way, you know, at the very least she would distance herself from that sort of behavior. But she's brought it here into her role as a leader, and in looking prime ministerial is again lying and using fake figures and fake information. And I think that's really important, that she continues to lie and to use fake information. Anyhow, fellas, it is almost 10 o'clock, and I know Lasana probably has to go and write an article now to post.
Not right away, but yeah.
Not right away. And
I'll leave this till tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, and Nicholas is probably a couple hours ahead of us, so he probably needs to get some sleep. Dion have 2 better clothes to go and fold, and Will probably has to get home. Thank you very much for coming and being a part of this and helping me out with this. It would have been ridiculous for me to sit and talk to myself for 2 hours. I am not Prasad Bisasa. I cannot sit down and talk to myself for 2 hours. Right? I need friends to talk to for 2 hours. So thanks, and if you guys can hit me some feedback tomorrow about what you think can be done better or can be done otherwise to improve using the Hangouts, because I think this is a way I want to go for election 2015.
Okay.
So I want to kind of iron out the kinks and really get it going. All right, so I'm going to say bye and stop the broadcast, and thank you to our 12 to 14 viewers.
was who was there with us the entire time.
We have people watching?
Yeah, we have people watching. Bye.
Bye.